Hi, my name is Faisal Allen. I'm here to talk about the lack of clean water in Africa. Now, the most important human responsibility is to help those who don't have the common luxuries that we do. We can access clean water whenever we want, whenever we want, but not everyone has it that easy. There are people in countries such as Somalia and Sudan that have prime examples of people who don't have access to clean water every day, let alone every week. Lack of access to clean water is detrimental to an entire continent's way of living. Let me give you a couple of examples. More than 3.4 million people die each year from water, sanitation, and hygiene-related causes. Nearly all deaths, 99%, occur in the developing world. It doesn't occur in America, it doesn't occur in industrialized Europe. Third world countries are where they're in dire need of the water, and the lack of access to clean water and sanitation as well kills children at a rate equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every 4 hours, which is a pretty crazy statistic once you think about it. In this day and age, that children would die from lack of access to clean water and the poor hygiene from their sanitation in 2014 is just something that's unheard of. The lack of access to clean water cannot simply be blamed on a lack of trying. Africa actually has about a third of the world's major international water basins, and virtually all sub-Saharan African countries and Egypt, they share at least one international water basin. Depending on how they're counted, there are between 63 and 80 transboundary river and lake basins on the African continent. So it does show that there's a lack of, or a show of effort. It's not for a lack of trying. It's just not really getting to the people that are in need of the most. I'm not sure if that has to do with more monetary based or political based, but there is an urgent need that people are aware of. They are trying to get the money, but somehow the water access is not yet getting to them. The water crisis also impacts education of a majority of children. It often denies them basic skills so they can break the cycle of poverty. Once they're poor in one of these developing countries, it's very difficult to get out of that. Without proper education, and the lack of access to clean water robs these kids of a proper education. It has a serious effect on their academic performance and their attendance rates. The lack of safe water, it can cause even the best students to lose momentum as they deal with stomach pains, diarrhea, and disease and from hunger. For girls, the situation is even more troublesome. If schools don't have proper toilets, girls drop out once they reach puberty, purely for health reasons. The school isn't going to look out for them, and they could possibly die because of the lack of hygiene in their toilets in these schools. So they would just rather drop out instead of risking their life at this point. Further, it's typically the responsibility of women to fetch water, thus limiting their access to both education and business opportunities. If you think about it, every day, women and young girls carry more than 40 pounds of dirty water from sources over 4 miles away from their homes. This leaves very little time for education, which is critical to changing long-term prospects of developing nations. It affects their health very much. It's not just the lack of access to clean water, but they're also drinking a lot of dirty water, which affects their health, and they also have those health costs along to go with that. The fact that half of the world's hospital beds are filled with people suffering from a water-related disease is pretty shocking in itself. In developing countries, about 80% of illnesses are linked to poor water and sanitation conditions. 1 out of every 5 deaths under the age of 5 worldwide is due to water-related disease, and clean and safe water is pretty much essential to healthy living. The lack of access to the clean water or any water is one problem, but they're also getting dirty water, which is making them sick and causing them unable to work, unable to go to school, further putting them into the cycle of poverty. The sickness caused by the dirty water drains people's energy to pretty much do anything. Students who suffer from the illnesses due to the water can't stay in class. They miss out on the chance to learn. And when one person is sick, someone else has to take care of them, which means the second person can't work or go to school either. They have to take care of the sick person and tend to them. And if the sick person needs medicine, that money can't be used for other things like food or school supplies. Those are just a few of the facts that I wanted to mention about the lack of clean access of water in Africa and developing nations.